Hello everyone. Today I will be presenting a data-driven operational performance audit of a hotel group, which is a multi-property hotel chain operating across 4 major Indian cities. This analysis is built on more than 134,000 individual booking records from May to June and July 2022, and it covers 4 performance dimensions such as occupancy, revenue, booking channels, and customer satisfaction. The objective is very straightforward. Identify where the business is underperforming, when it happens, why it happens, and then translate those findings into actionable recommendation. And this phenomena is called EDA analysis or Exploratory Data Analysis, which is nothing but identify the structure, patterns, outliers, and data quality, etc. So without wasting our time, we'll move further. Let me start with the business context here. This hotel group has operated for over 20 years in the market. Despite that experience, the business is currently facing 3 interconnected challenges. First, the revenue is flat. There is no growth signal across 3 months analyzed, and significant dip in the June, which was never fully recovered. Second, market share is eroding. The competitors are gaining the ground, and the group's pricing, occupancy, and channel strategy are not keeping the pace. Third, and the most importantly, management had no clear analytical view of where exactly performance was breaking down. That is precisely what this analysis was commissioned to provide. So the objective, therefore, which we discussed in the previous, is to identify where performance is declining, when it happens, and why it takes place, and to deliver recommendations that management can act on immediately. Before touching the data, it is essential to define what good performance actually looks like in the hotel industry. So let's just understand the domain of hotel industry. There are 4 metrics drive this analysis. Occupancy percentage first. So calculated as successful booking divided by total capacity tells us how full the hotels are. The industry benchmark is somewhere around 65 to 70%. Second is RevPAR or revenue per available room. This is the most important revenue metric in hospitality. Unlike total revenue, RevPAR accounts for property size, making fair comparison across the property possible. Third is going to be the cancellation rate. This measures the percentage of booking that never materialize or never take place until the end. So this represents the direct revenue risk. And the final would be EDR, which is average daily rate, measures the pricing power of each property. These 4 metrics from analytical is based like analytical backbone of the everything that we follow in this project. The analysis draws on 6 data sets from the hotel group's booking and operations dataset. The primary dataset, fact booking, contains more than 134,000 individual records covering booking platform, revenue, guest ratings, and booking status. The methodology follows 5 structured phases such as validation, cleaning, transformation, insight generation, and recommendation. In the cleaning phase, invalid guest records were removed. Revenue outliers were identified using the mean plus 3 standard deviation method. The date columns were standardized to a datetime format. In the transformation phase, 3 new columns were engineered from raw data, such as occupancy percentage, RevPAR, and cancellation rate, to enable the subsequent business analysis. The first and most critical finding was weekday occupancy. In other words, how have we performed during weekends and weekdays? So weekend occupancy was accounted for 74%, nearly the industry benchmark, and indicating healthy leisure demand. However, weekday occupancy is only 52%. Hotels are more than half empty from Monday to Thursday. There is 22% point gap. Now it tells a specific story here that this business is almost entirely depends on the leisure travelers. The corporate travel segment, which is highly profitable, highly consistent, and the backbone of successful hotel chain globally, is not being captured over here. In Netherlands, where I am currently based, this pattern is well understood. So the recommendation here is clear. The weekday corporate packages, B2B rate agreements, and targeted outreach to business travelers in Delhi, Mumbai, and Hyderabad. The second finding is what I call the Delhi revenue paradox, and it is one of the most striking results in this analysis. Delhi has the highest occupancy rate in the group, which is around 62%, yet it generates the least revenue of the city, amongst any city, only 294 million Indian rupees. Compare that to Mumbai, which has lower occupancy rate. It's roughly around 58%, but it generates 669 million INR, more than double from the Delhi. This is not volume problem. Delhi is filling its room. This is a pricing problem. Rooms are being sold at rates that do not reflect the demand the market is clearly demonstrating. A 50 to 20% room rate increase in Delhi is immediately justified by the occupancy rate data. That single decision without acquiring a single new customer could add 40 to 50 million INR directly to the bottom line. So we have discussed weekend versus weekdays and revenue or pricing concerns. Now we are going to discuss about a third finding concern, which is booking channel performance, specifically cancellations. Across all 7 platforms analyzed, including Make Your Trip, Log Trip, Tripsters, and direct channels, the cancellation rate accounts for between 24 to 25%. The difference between the highest and the lowest platform is less than 1% point. This is critical distinction. When cancellation rates are the cancellation rates are identical across the platform, the problem is not specifically platform's customer base or booking policy. The problem is the group's own cancellation term, which are clearly too flexible across the board. The recommendation is a policy intervention, not a platform negotiation. Stricter cancellation windows, non-refundable rate options. This would protect revenue regardless of which platform the booking originates from. Additionally, the others category accounts for 41% of all revenue, yet it cannot be attributed to any specific source. That is significant data quality problem that must be resolved before any channel strategy can be optimized. Now look at the fourth finding. The fourth finding reveals a two-tier split in customer satisfaction that has serious long-term implication for the brand. One side, there are 5 properties are rated between 4.25 and 4.32 out of 5 in customer satisfaction, led by Atlic Exotica Mumbai 4.32. These properties are performing exceptionally well. On the other hand, 4 properties are rated between 2.3 and 2.36, with Atlic Seasons Mumbai at just 2.3 and Atlic Exotica Hyderabad at 2.33. Now, what makes this finding particularly significant is that the same brand Atlic Exotica scores 4.32 in Mumbai and 2.33 in Hyderabad. There is a 2-point gap in customer satisfaction for the same brand name. When it comes to third-party booking platforms such as Make Your Trip, Booking.com, the rating below 3 that miserably reduce the visibility and booking conversion. So these low rated properties are actively losing their bookings compared to the higher rating hotels. So until now, we have discussed weekdays versus weekends, pricing or revenue, especially in Delhi, a significant number of cancellations, customer satisfaction rating for the same category, higher and lower in different locations. Now the fifth finding is really interesting, and specifically for the city called Bangalore. And it deserves its own slide here because the data consistently point to this city across every dimension of the analysis. Now what's wrong with the Bangalore? Bangalore has the lowest occupancy at 56.33%. It ranks second in revenue, but is growing further behind Mumbai. And it has lowest average customer rating. When a city ranks last in occupancy, revenue trajectory and satisfaction simultaneously, there is not coincidence. This is systematic operational failure. The recommendation is full operational audit of Bangalore properties covering staffing, pricing strategy, maintenance standard, and competitive positioning in specific market. Now at this point, I want to address a question. What is this actually worth, the analysis, the recommendation, or the findings? So based on the 5 findings presented, the total addressable revenue opportunity for the group is conservatively estimated between 410 and 480 million INR. Weekdays corporate package alone represent 150 to 200 million rupee opportunity at a 10% point occupancy improvement. This is the first concern that we have addressed. Second address, we have talked about the pricing strategy, especially in the Delhi. So in Delhi, the rate correction adds up to 40 to 50 million INR directly. Recovering 20% cancellation booking through stricter policy protects approximately 85 million INR. Now fourth is shifting 10% of booking to direct channels saves up to 15 to 25 million rupees in third-party commission. This is very well addressed when it comes to customer satisfaction. Where the customer satisfaction is below 3, then they are less likely to highlight the property. So by improving the direct booking, we can have at least 15 to 25 million INR, and that we save for the third-party commission. And the closing 50% of Bangalore's performance gap with Mumbai recovers an estimated around 120 million rupees. In total, that represents 24 to 28% of group's entire annual revenue. This is not incremental improvement. This is transformational. So finally, the 6 recommendations are prioritized by estimated its business impact. So what can be priority? So there are 3 urgent priorities. Launch weekday corporate package, review daily room rate immediately, and commission a full operational audit of Bangalore. Needs to be priority. Now what is medium priority or importance is introduce a direct booking loyalty program, classify the unidentified other revenue categories, and implement a minimum rating standard of 3.5 across all properties with quarterly reviews. Each recommendation is directly traceable to a specific finding in the data, which means each one comes with a clear business justification and not just a suggestion. Now to sum up, if this organization takes only one action from this analysis, it should be fixing weekday occupancy. A 10% point improvement in weekday occupancy across all 25 properties would generate an estimated of 150 to 200 million INR in additional annual revenue. This is the single highest impact action available to management today. The full analysis in interactive dashboard, Python notebook are all publicly available. The links are on screen. I do recommend, if you're looking for an approaches in Python for exploratory data analysis, then I highly recommend to look for my Jupyter notebook, readme file, dashboard that I created for this analysis. You can able to click the link in the description. Thank you and have an excellent day ahead.